Durga. As per Hindu texts, Durga was created to contain the ascent of Asuras who had become a threat to cosmic stability. All the male gods who were not able to subdue the Asuras, led by Mahishasura, contributed their combined energy to Parvati, wife of Shiva, and created Durga out of her. She is an alter ego of Parvati or Uma and is invincible. The texts of Devi Mahatmyam quote that though she is eternal, she becomes manifest again and again to protect the world from the hands of Asuras. Durga is also called Narayani, Ishani, Vishnumaya, Sanatani, should be Santani, Sarvani, Bhagavati, Gauri, Satya, should be Satya, and Nitya, regular. In essence, Durga has been created to eliminate some unwanted elements in the universe, human body. What is it to be eliminated? The word Dur means bad. Dur in Durga relates to the menstrual discharge, which is a special event for eligible women every month. Ga means song. Thus, Durga means bad song, meaning the bad tune of the body. Ga also means go or move out as seen in Ganga. The story of Durga discusses the physiological and anatomical changes that happen in women's body. The story of Durga is different from the story of Daksha's Yagna, which related to menarche. The story of Durga is about the regular monthly menstrual cycle and discharge. That Durga will manifest again and again to protect the world from the hands of Asuras is clearly understood. Sura is derived from the word Surabhi, which means secretion, and Asura means non-secreting, where A is used for negation. Asuras were mentioned in the story of churning of Milky Ocean, where they were party to churning the ocean, which is related to secretions in connection with sexual stimulation or orgasm. Every month, the ovum, female egg, is released from one of the ovaries. It must be properly dealt with in a female body, whether it is fertilized or not. The uterus lining will thicken on the release of the ovum on ovulation, known as Paurnami, full moon day, and it must be shed, cleaned, and made ready for the next chance if conception has not taken place. The uterus wall thickens, preparing for a fertilized egg to attach itself to its inner wall. A new ovum from the ovary must be released again for a chance of new conception, since the old one missed its chance. If this cleaning process does not happen, life will come to a standstill because there will be no birth and life. Yes, cosmic stability will be a question mark in this universe. There exists a constant exchange of information between the brain and the reproductive system. This relationship of ovum pottum, ovary and pituitary gland, activates the cleaning process. Mother Nature has made things easier, and she does not let us suffer. The natural physiological and anatomical activities have been anthropomorphically explained through these stories. Durga means the elimination of bad tissues or elements in the female anatomy. The word Ga or Ka is used in Vedic texts to mean go, remove, or eliminate in the same manner that the word Ra is used for coming, originate, or add. The story of Durga has two parts. First is the slaying of Mahishasura, and the second is the celebration of the slaying. Mahalaya and Navaratri are the two aspects of worshipping relating to Durga. During Mahalaya, the Asura, Mahishasura, was killed and only Durga is involved. During Navaratri, her victory over Mahishasura is celebrated. The Navaratri celebration continues with yet another third celebration, that is, for an attempt to embark on a new venture, which is also celebrated in continuation of Navaratri. During Navaratri celebrations, not only Durga, but two important goddesses, Saraswati, brain, and Lakshmi, female procreative organs, are also worshipped. Their presence is a must, and without them, the new venture which commences on the 10th day, Dasara, will be a futile effort. Mahalaya is celebrated for 7 days, just before Navaratri, 9 nights, festival. It starts on Navami, Ninth day after Paurnami, called full moon day. Ovulation is known as Paurnami in Puranic texts. It ends on Amavasya, called new moon day. First day of menstruation is known as Amavasya under Puranic texts. The above lines try to say that menstruation commences soon after a failed sperm-egg meeting. Jago, Tumi Jago is the mantra chanted during these days to invite the mother goddess to descend on earth. Dead ancestors are remembered on this new moon day, Amavasya, and offerings called Tarpan or Pindam are made to them. Since the Amavasya, new moon day, refers to the first day of menstruation, it is understood that the ovum has degenerated and died. Uterus linings also disintegrate. This happens invariably on both occasions of no intercourse and failed or unsuccessful intercourse. During failed intercourse, millions of sperms would have perished inside the reproductive organ, and they are known as ancestors because the genes are not only belong to the current person but are also descended from his ancestors. All these deaths are mourned on this day of Amavasya, the first day of menstruation. Navaratri, Nava, 9, Ratri, night, is celebrated for 9 days starting from Pradama, next day to Amavasya, new moon day. It will end on the 9th day, which is called Navami. The 9th day is called Ayuda Puja. On this day, it is traditional to place all the implements and tools for students, books, on an altar and refrain from doing work or studying. In fact, it is the day for cleaning, repairing, sharpening, and revitalizing the implements and tools. For students, books. Navaratri is divided into 3 phases, and each phase consists of 3 days. The first phase of 3 days is dedicated to Durga. The second phase of 3 days is dedicated to Lakshmi. And the last phase of the 3 days is dedicated to Saraswati. Sacrifices should be offered on Saptami, 7th day, and on Navami, 9th day, but not on Ashtami, 8th day. This Navaratri festival is also called Dasara, commonly a festival of 10 days, extending the festivities of Navaratri for one more day. The 10th day is called Vijayadashami, the day of victory. Puja for Saraswati is performed on this day. Some call it a day of Vidyarambam. Vidya means education or profession, and Arambam means starting or beginning. The word Dasara consists of 2 parts, Dasa and Ra. Dasa may mean tissue, Dasai, or female germ cell. Ra means inviting the germ cell. As we know, Rama refers to the germ cell. The day is considered auspicious for embarking on new ventures. The story of Mahishasura, as per the Vamana Purana, is as follows. Other Puranas have some modifications, but the content of the story does not change. Basically, this story conveys information on the ovulation process and the releasing of the ovum by one of the ovaries. This is a routine process every month. There are 2 powerful asuras named Ramba and Karamba. Ka plus Ramba. The entire universe suffered from their oppression. Asura means non-secretion. Since they had no sons, Karamba was doing rigorous tapasya underwater to beget a boon and was killed by Indra. Karamba's death angered Ramba and he decided to undergo difficult tapasya to get a son to avenge his brother's death. Lord Agni granted him a boon that he would be blessed with a son who was powerful, invincible, and would conquer the 3 worlds. The 3 worlds refer to the 3 germ layers. The story starts from Brahman, the golden egg, the germ cell. The sex of a baby is determined at the time of fusion between the ovum and the sperm. The visibility of external genitalia is not evident till the 8th week of conception and will start differentiating thereafter. The initial appearance of the fetal genitalia is basically feminine. During fetal development, the presence of the SRY gene causes the fetal gonads to become testes. The absence of SRY gene allows the gonads to develop into ovaries. The development of internal reproductive organs and external genitalia is determined by the hormones produced by the fetal gonads, ovaries, or testes. Ramba, female, or Karamba, male, will come alive into existence depending on the predetermination of the sex at the time of fusion. The present story is about Ramba, female. Hence, Karamba, male, was killed by Indra, who is related to the masculine gender. Normally, any one gender can exist. Under abnormal circumstances, the gender may be differentiated into a third gender where the person may not conform to either male or female. Now, the arena is open for Ramba, female. There is a plant called Karambu, whose botanical name is Jashaya saffroticosa. Its medicinal uses are not known. Karamba is made up of two words, namely Kara plus Amba. There are many plants known by the name Kara. Teca aspera is known as Kara, which is also known as Surana, where Su refers to well-being or urinary system and Rana refers to wound. Sura refers to secretion and Na refers to neuron as found in Narada, the celestial stage who always travels. Kara in Tamil means dissolve or remove. Momodica conchinchinesis is known as Adavi Kakara, and its medical properties are not known. Anasilkis perithrum is known as Akkalkara or Akkarakarava, which is regarded as a tonic for the nervous system. Cermicarpus anacardium is known as Arushakra or Agnimuki or marking nut trees, which are used in Ayurveda for many preparations. Agni is known as sheep, and it refers to the female reproductive system since Agni Mukha is a pictorial depiction of the system. Putranjiva Roxburghi is known as Garbhakara or Putrajiva or Putranjiva and has medicinal properties useful in pregnancy. Cuminum cyminum, known as Jilakara, Ajaji, Jiraka or Jira, is used in Ayurveda for many preparations. Pterospermum acirifolium, known as Karnikara, is a variety of Cassia fistula which is used for diseases of the uterus. Pterospermum acirifolium is also known as Karnikara or Muchukunda, which is used for smallpox and gastralgia. Muchukunda or Muchukunda is also known as Pterospermum subrifolium. There is a plant called Machikara, also known as Paribhadra or Parijataka, whose botanical name is Erythrina indica. It acts on the central nervous system either to diminish or abolish its functions. Tordalia aculatia is known as Mainkara or Kanchana or Dahana, which is considered a strong stimulant. The mineral alumin is known as Spatikara, which is also known as Spatikari or Surashtraja or Kamakshi. Canna indica is also known as Kamakshi or Sarvajaya. Cycas cercinalis is also known as Kamakshi, which is useful for chronic weakness. Muraya exotica is known as Utkara. Cardiospermum halicacabum is also known as Karavi or Jyotishmati, which is useful for the nervous system. Magnifera indica is known as Amba or Amra or Amva. Amba and Ambalika are two female characters in Mahabharata who changed their gender only to defeat Bhishma. Mahabharata and Ramayana are part of the anthropomorphic versions of ancient medical texts. Do these plants relating to Kara and Amba have anything to do with the organs connected to Karamba? Karana is a unit of measurement just like Tithi or day, etc. It specifies that any activity should be allotted the correct amount of time to achieve full benefit. There is a Tamil adage which says Karanam, acrobat, Tappinal, falters, Maranam, death. The adage conveys that when an acrobat falters or does not keep his timing, he is sure to meet death by losing his balance. The important element here is timing, which is very important for metabolic activities in the human body. When we read the word ka plus ra plus na backwards, it will result in na plus ra plus ka, which indicates the pulmonary functions. Refer chapter Yama, where gas exchanges take place. This function is also connected to the heart and heartbeat, where timing is very important. The timing is measured by pulse or pulse rate. Females will normally have XX chromosomes and males will normally have XY chromosomes. If the offspring is a male, X chromosome from the mother and Y chromosome from the father will be present. If the offspring is a female, X chromosome from the mother and X chromosome from the father will be present. Thus, for a female child, Y chromosome of the father is wiped out. This incident could also have been interpreted as killing by Indra. Indra is masculine and Indrani is feminine. Thus, it is possible that X chromosome would have been termed Ramba and the Y chromosome termed Karamba in Vedic texts. Ramba in Tamil means saw, which has teeth used for cutting wood. Fimbria, part of the fallopian tube lying above the ovaries, resembles the saw teeth, which refers to the female anatomy. It also resembles the comb of a rooster, which is the flag symbol of Kartikeyan, who is a personification of sperm. Ramba went to the lands of the Yakshas, who are companions to Kubera, the god of wealth. Kubera is in the kingdom of Lakshmi, personification of the female reproductive system. Ramba fell in love with the she-buffalo and married her. Buffalo is a thick-skinned animal which has connections to Yamadharma, who in turn is a reference to the human heart. Ramba may refer to the ovary follicles. Ramba went back home with his wife but was not allowed to stay there since he had married a she-buffalo and had to return to the land of Yakshas. Ramba is a plant called Musa sapientum, which is also known as Vanalakshmi and Kadali. It is an unripe banana or plantain. Perhaps the fruit of this plant may benefit that part of our anatomy. Kubera is always the companion of Lakshmi. Kubera, the god of wealth, is the ovary, and his palace is said to be filled with gold, which are the ovarian follicles. The cortex of the female ovary contains millions of immatures, primordial follicles, even before birth. New follicles will not be produced in a female body. Only the existing, at the time of fertilization, follicles will mature over time. Only about 400 to 450 of these follicles will reach the ovulatory stage during the lifetime of a female human being. The primordial follicles contain oocytes surrounded by flat squamous granulose cells, support cells, that are segregated from the oocyte's environment by the basal lamina. In layman's language, it is called thick-skinned or buffalo skin. These primordial follicles can be dormant for nearly 50 years in a human. These primordial follicles assume various stages of development before rupturing or breaking. They are primary follicle, secondary follicle, and mature vesicular follicle. Ramba's wife gave birth to a son called Mahishasura. Ramba, father of Mahishasura, died while trying to protect his wife when another buffalo attacked her. The attacking buffalo was killed by the Yakshas present there. Meanwhile, Mahishasura's mother, the she-buffalo, self-immolated herself on Ramba's funeral pyre. A terrible demon named Raktavija emerged out of that funeral pyre and killed everyone except Mahishasura and accepted him as his master. The word Mahishasura is a combination of Mahishi plus Asura. Mahishi means woman, refers to the feminine, and Asura means non-secreting. Raktavija may be related to some feminine secretions. The follicle developmental process is called folliculogenesis or oogenesis, and it creates non-dominant and dominant follicles at the final stage. The dominant follicle may refer to Mahishasura. Interaction of various stimulatory and inhibitory hormones has contributed to the follicle developmental process. These processes have brought Mahishasura to the present stage. Now the time has come for rupturing the follicle to release the ovum. In other words, Mahishasura must be killed to save cosmic stability. The deaths of Ramba and his wife convey information about the cell cycle, where new cells are being created out of old cells. Mahishasura defeated all the demons, plus Suras. The Devas were driven out, and he became the king of heaven. They went to the Trinity gods and complained about their misfortune. Shiva created goddess Kartiyayini or Durga to kill Mahishasura, and all the other gods contributed part of their power to make the goddess as mighty as possible. Kartiyayini mounted a lion and left for the Vindhya mountains. Geographically, the Vindhyas are a parallel range situated almost in the middle of the Indian subcontinent, dividing it into north and south. Anatomically, the fallopian tubes and ovaries are situated parallelly. Vindu in Tamil refers to seminal fluid. Chanda and Munda, the demon attendants of Mahishasura, spotted the beautiful Kartiyayini and informed their master about her. Mahishasura, on hearing about Kartiyayini's beauty, wanted to marry her and sent Dundubi, another demon, as a messenger to Kartiyayini. When Dundubi brought the message to Kartiyayini, she informed him that her marriage would take place only with the person who could defeat her in a battle. In the battle that ensued, Kartiyayini killed Mahishasura. The Devas were relieved and returned to heaven. Follicle stimulating hormone is secreted by the anterior pituitary gland related to Shiva and contributes to folliculogenesis. Estrogens of the endocrine system relating to Vishnu stimulate crypts in the cervix to produce fertile cervical mucus to create a hospitable environment for the sperm inside the vagina. Thus, so many gods have contributed their power to equip Kartiyayini to slay Mahishasura, to rupture the dominant follicle, to release the ovum. The process of folliculogenesis lasts for about 380 days and coincides with the menstrual cycle. It is a continuous process. It means at any given point of time, the ovary contains follicles in all stages of development. It may also be the reason for the festival of Durga Puja being celebrated for about 15 days. The slaying of Mahishasura is an anatomical happening every month, Luna month, called ovulation. The full moon day, Paurnami, of the lunar cycle is meant to indicate the anatomical happening of ovulation and the menstrual cycle that follows in a fortnight if the ovum is not fertilized. Now that we have witnessed the slaying of Mahishasura, ovum is released from the ovary through the rupturing of its wall. Let us move on to the Durga Puja and Mahalaya celebrations. Markandeya and Brahma Vairavarta Puranas contain the stories of King Surada and Vaishya Samadhi who worship Durga. King Surada, Sura plus Da, was driven out of his kingdom by Nandi. Nandi is the attendant of Shiva and the personification of sexual stimulation. King Surada fled his country on a horse and was travelling through the forest in which the Pushpabhadra river was flowing. Near the river, he met a Vaishya called Samadhi, who had also been driven out by his wife and sons. They travelled to a place called Pushkara and met sage Medha. Medha advised them to worship Durga to get boons, and both did so. Medha or Medha, Gymnema auranticum, is a medicinal plant which is eaten as a vegetable and used medically as a restorative. Related to this is another plant called Mahamedha, botanical name Reptadenia spartum or Gymnema spartum, also used medically as a restorative. Mahamedha is also known by another botanical name, Polygonatum verticillum or Siraifolium. Durga appeared before both and granted Surada his kingdom back and Samadhi his desired union with Krishna. After Durga left, Surada started worshipping her in the form of an earthen image. Surada offered rice, sweets, flowers as usual for the puja and offered animals and vegetables like deer, lamb, sheep, goats, and pumpkins. After the ceremony, King Surada disposed of the clay image in the waters of a river. The worship of Durga happened in the month of Ashvina. During the follicular or proliferative phase, 7 to 8 days prior to ovulation, the lining of the uterus thickens due to the stimulation caused by increasing amounts of estrogen secretion. King Surada, the secretion was driven out of his kingdom by Nandi, the stimulant. Nandi is the vehicle of Shiva. The ovum released on ovulation is caught by the fimbria of the fallopian tube and it travels slowly through the tube towards the uterus waiting for the sperm so fertilization can take place. Vaishya Samadhi. The ovum was driven out of his home by his own wife and sons by means of ovulation. Normally, the traveling ovum on fertilization will attach to the uterus lining for further development. King Surada took Vaishya Samadhi to a place called Pushkara, pond, uterus, and met sage Medha, raised place lining of the uterus. Why is Nandi known as a sexual stimulant? According to Puranic stories, Nandi and Ganesha used to play the instrument of gods, Deva Vadyam, called Mridangam. Mridangam is a double-sided drum, whose body is a hollowed piece of jackfruit wood. Two mouths of the drum are covered with the leather of a goat skin and laced to each other with leather straps. The tensions of the straps are vital to get the required sound effect. Mridangam is a combination of Mrid, meaning clay or earth, and Anga means body. Mridangam may also be a combination of Mrityu, means blood or bondage, and Anga meaning body. We have seen King Surada worship Durga made of clay. Ganesha was also made of turmeric paste by Parvati, and he can also be made of clay. During Vinayaka Chaturthi, his clay mold is worshipped. Nandi used to play the said instrument during Shiva's Ananda Tandava, which is known as sexual stimulation or orgasm. Shiva, being the pituitary gland and human blood, plays a vital role during sexual stimulation. Mridangam is also known as Mattalam, Mattala, where talam means coherent musical sound. Mattu or Madhu, churning stick, is common in Indian kitchens to separate butter out of buttermilk, fermented milk. This equipment is put into a pot containing buttermilk, twisted continuously clockwise and anti-clockwise, churned to make the liquid move around back and forth. This process separates the butter from the buttermilk, and the butter will emerge floating on the liquid. This is exactly the stimulation done in the human body by both Nandi and Ganesha. This is otherwise called the churning of milky ocean. Mattala is a combination of Ma, meaning origin, and Tala or Tala, meaning head. Ma also refers to green gram, which is capable of germination and has medicinal qualities. If the ovum or the egg is not fertilized within a day of ovulation, it will die, and the remains are expelled from the body. Vaishya Samadhi, meaning death or deathbed, gets his desired union with Krishna. Krishna, along with Radha, refer to kidneys and urinary system. The present union with the Krishna refers to the removal of degenerated ovum along with the uterus linings that are now disposable out of the body. The vulva or outer passage of the female genital is known as Dwaraka, abode of Krishna. Dwara means hole, and Ka refers to go. Soon after ovulation, after the expulsion of the ovum from the ovary, the remnants of the dominant follicle in the ovary is called corpus luteum. The main function of corpus luteum is producing large amounts of progesterone, which influences the endometrium, uterus lining, clay form of Durga worshipped by Surada, to change and prepare itself for the potential implantation of an embryo in case pregnancy takes place. This is the role of worshipping an earthen image of Durga by King Surada. King Surada may refer to the secretion of progesterone and estrogen. In the event of no implantation within 2 weeks, the corpus luteum will die, resulting in a sharp drop in the levels of progesterone and estrogen. The said hormonal drops cause the uterus to shed its lining, and the process is called menstruation. Thus, King Surada has disposed of the clay image in the waters of a river. There are many important deaths that take place due to the presence of Durga. The ovum and the corpus luteum will die in the event of pregnancy not taking place. At the same time, all the sperm also die in the event of non-fertilization post the union between male and female. The death of the sperm, except one, is also imminent in the event of fertilization because only one sperm can succeed in penetrating the ovum. Hence, the new moon day, Amavasya, the day named for menstrual beginning, is observed as a day of mourning. Ancestors are remembered on this day, prayers are held for them, and offerings are made for them in the name of Tarpan or Pindam. Jago Tumi Jago is the mantra chanted during these days to invite the mother goddess to descend on earth. Descend on earth may refer to the expulsion of the ovum from the ovary or the movement of the ovum in the fallopian tube. Mahalaya is celebrated for 7 days starting from Navami, ninth day after Paurnami, full moon day, being the day of ovulation. It ends on Amavasya, new moon day, being the day of menstruation. Mahalaya is an indication that a union of fertilization has not taken place on ovulation. Let us move on to Durga Puja, which commences on the day of Amavasya, new moon day, named for the day of menstruation. It is celebrated for 9 days ending on Navami, ninth day after Amavasya. The first 3 days are devoted to Durga in the menstrual phase called eumenorrhea, menstrual bleeding. During this period, the blood will not be clotted due to plasmin, an enzyme contained in the endometrium. Women need higher dietary requirements due to the heavy blood loss and to prevent from deficiency. Let us revisit the list of offerings by King Surada during the worship of Durga in the form of a clay idol. He offered animals and vegetables like deer, lamb, sheep, goats, and pumpkins. This is in addition to rice, sweets, incense, and flowers. These items, except incense and flowers, may fulfill the higher dietary requirements. Incense and flowers may create an odorless or aromatic environment and act as a stimulant to feel better. Do we give all this to the women who need it or waste it as offerings to gods? The next 3 days are devoted to Lakshmi, more specifically relating to the uterus and its companions, ovary and fallopian tubes. Once the blood flow stops or nearly ceases, the next activities in the reproductive organs must be carried on. Due to hormonal influences, 2 layers of the endometrium lining form in the cavity of the uterus. Rich blood supplies are brought in by spiral arteries of the stroma. In short, the endometrium grows to a thick, blood vessel-rich, glandular tissue layer. The system is getting ready for the next cycle of events to take place, and it is the beginning of the proliferative phase. King Surada will be getting ready to worship Durga in clay form. The final 3 days are devoted to Saraswati, specifically relating to the brain and nervous system. The next phase of action is getting ready. Since the base work has been done in the past 3 days, for the past 6 days, secretion of hormones has not been very significant. Now is the time for them to play their part. Follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, estradiol and progesterone are the hormones coming into play. These are either released or not released, controlled by command of the brain, hypothalamus and pituitary through the nervous system. This is the final or nearly the final stage of the follicular phase. Meanwhile, many things have happened at the ovary and a dominant follicle is getting ready. The stage is set for slaying another Mahisasura. On the 10th day, Dasami is also called Vijayadasami or Vidyarambam. Normally, ovulation takes place 13 to 14 days from the day menstruation starts. For this to happen, the ovum or female egg must be released by the ovary. It must travel through the fallopian tube to meet the sperm. In short, a beginning must be made, and that is called Vijayadasami or Vidyarambam. The Puranic texts have fixed the 10th or 11th day for the expulsion of ovum. According to Brahma Vairavarta Purana, Vishnu or Krishna was originally married to Lakshmi, Saraswati and Parvati, Durga. He then gave Saraswati and Parvati, Durga, to Brahma and Shiva respectively. When Vishnu or Krishna wanted to give away Durga, Shiva refused to accept her as he wanted to remain an ascetic. Vishnu or Krishna accepted Shiva's decision but told him to take Durga as his wife after a certain kalpas period. These stories bring out the interaction of the 3 germ layers, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm, during fetal development. Krishna refers to the endoderm. Shiva's refusal and asceticism refer to the period up to puberty in a female. He accepts Durga as his wife during the puberty stage, which refers to the interaction of the pituitary gland with the menstrual cycle.